David. It's my old friend David.
Hi, Rosabelle. It's always nice to hear your voice. We're about to do our live show in Denver, Colorado, and I'm just wondering if you know anything about Denver.
Oh, I hate these questions. Denver. No, I don't know anything about Denver. There's a dinosaur called Denver.
What? Really?
Denver the dinosaur. Is he from Denver? I don't know.
What was the dinosaur from? Like a cartoon?
I have no idea. I just have it as a phrase in my mind from the 90s. Is that enough?
I am similar to you. All I really know about Denver at this point is that it has that big blue giant horse at the airport that's a sculpture and an installation, and it famously fell over and killed the artist who made it.
No, really?
And you see it when you're flying in, like at night. It has
they kept it?
Glowing red eyes. Yeah, it's still there. You can see it.
So they picked it up off the dead body and just
Yeah, I think it was in his workshop and it killed him, but they got it finished and they put it up. And now when you fly in at night, you can see they've almost played into it. It's got glowing red eyes, so it actually looks quite evil.
Oh, so it's like haunted.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's funny because a lot of people have emailed in for suggestions of topics for Denver, and a lot of them have talked about this big blue horse. And we did an episode about it ages ago, but obviously no one listened to it, including you, because I've explained all this before at length, a whole hour rambling on about it.
Oh, so this was actually just a trick question to see if I listened to your podcast.
And the answer is you do not to listen.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Buying a car shouldn't eat up your week. That's why Carvana made it convenient. Car buying that fits around your life, not the other way around. You can get pre-qualified for an auto loan in just a couple of minutes and browse thousands of quality car options, all within your terms, all online, all on your schedule. Turn car buying into a few clicks and not a full week's endeavor. Finance and buy your car at your convenience on Carvana. Financing subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply.
Flightless bird touches down in America. Flightless bird touches down in America.
It's such a beautiful reception, genuinely. Like we haven't done. Thank you. We've done a few of these now, not a lot of these, and that was loud, right?
It was louder than usual, yeah.
Thank you. Oh. It's always good to have the ego stroked a little bit, you know? I'd like to apologize for the heat, but I understand you're all incredibly used to this already. Like, that's a thing.
Yeah, I feel like they should apologize to us.
Yeah. I've been backstage talking to the guests, and while I'm talking, I've been feeling out of breath. It's surreal. I haven't adjusted to the height. That's a weird thing, and it's really hot. You know all this. I'm just telling you what you know about your city. I did look into Denver the dinosaur briefly. Had you ever heard of Denver the dinosaur? Okay. Had you, Rob?
No idea, no.
Okay, so Denver the Last Dinosaur is an American-French animated series nationally syndicated throughout the United States in 1988. I ordered this off eBay after Rosabelle's call. This is an original. I'll be giving this away at the end.
You should just throw it into the crowd.
I'm worried I'll deck someone in the face. That was deck, not dick. I know the accent is weird, but I'm not going to dick anyone in the face. That would be assault. You can't do that. In the show, a dinosaur hatches from a petrified egg in the modern era and is befriended by a group of teenagers, Jeremy, Mario, Shades, and Wally. Episodes focus on conservation, ecology, and greed, which is very now. Denver surprisingly understood English and was into rock and roll, he liked to play electric guitar, ride skateboards, and eat potato chips. So go Denver the Dinosaur. So Rosabelle, when Rosabelle says things, I often think, what are you talking about? She's always on point, every time. Also found out that Crocs were invented in Colorado, which is so your fault. You did it. Yeah, awful, horrific things. Are you okay with the Crocs, Rob?
I don't love a croc.
Yeah. You always sort of look at me with like a slight bit of disdain, you know?
Well, we'll go to like a nice dinner and you'll wear Crocs.
Just being myself, you know? We always like to start these shows with kind of a bit of a out and about section. Rob and I arrive a day or two early and just kind of try and go to a few things, like a few touristy things, a few things off the beaten track. And so Rob is going to present you our little like day out in Denver. You know? Oh, yeah, the airport. I mean, we've done an episode on this. This is treading old ground. But I do really like how your airport has leaned into every conspiracy theory around it. And I respect that. It's really fucking great. And this little creep in a suitcase, 10 out of 10. This was my last trip here. So I've been here for the other episode about the tunnels under your airport, and yeah, kindly the staff let me go under the anus, the douche, and the balls of the horse.
You look very comfortable there.
Yeah, I'm in my element, you know? Yeah, I like how it is incredibly correct scientifically, and I respect that, 10 out of 10.
Whenever we do these shows, we normally stay in Airbnbs, and we pick the weirdest ones we can find.
Always.
So we can feature it a little bit.
This one was very proud of its home theater downstairs, and it had a wall of DVDs, which I appreciate. Miss Congeniality, Mission Impossible 1, incredibly mid-selection of films. It was good.
It has a full speakeasy in the basement.
It's just me and Rob in there. It's like we can't use it. It's just there. So this is what we've been up to, you know? Wacky podcast bros on tour, you know? It has this weird thing. So just to explain, Rob is upstairs with his wife, Natalie. I'm sort of in this sort of downstairs basement lair. And so I'm underground. But I sort of went exploring one night, and there were these two doors, and I opened them, and it was just that. It's just this horrible nothing space, like in the wall, just like full of traps for cockroaches. Horrific. I shut it, and I found it really difficult to go to sleep that night. Horrible. But it had like a big like thing you could open to go outside, but all I could think all night is like, what if someone breaks in through that outside door into the inner basement where I am? Awful. Shower curtains. Cursed. Every fucking Airbnb in this country, shower curtains. Awful. That's all I've got to say about it, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
Next up was our trip to the zoo.
Look, I love a zoo. I know zoos can be controversial, but what I really like about Denver Zoo is it's gone like very hard into the conservation. And what got me on board is that they're partnered with New Zealand and a project there to maintain the population of kea, which is our native bird. It's a parrot. They're savage as fuck. They're great. And Denver Zoo has kea, which I found, I was just like, I am immediately on board with this zoo. This is great. Yeah.
We have a little bit of a love story to walk through. Was that Hendrix?
That was Hendrix.
Hendrix would...
Oh, no, it was Legend. It was Legend.
Legend.
Okay, we have the keeper in the audience, so we've got a fact checker. Live fact check is terrifying. It's like half this audience is Denver Zoo.
Well, David and Legend formed a quick bond, and he was cleaning him for most of our time there.
It was intense. I have arm hairs and just wanted to preen them the entire time. It was beautiful.
That's them together after you fed him.
Yeah, we bonded.
But then this might be Hendrix. Hendrix came over, and Legend got very jealous.
There was an actual like flamingo fight over me, which I was very into.
And then Divine wandered over to me.
And Rob is not a bird guy, so Rob was deeply cynical about this trip to the zoo. I'm like, we're going to go to the zoo and meet birds. He looked like he was about to sick up in his mouth. But this bird won him over. It was incredible.
She got through to me.
Okay, this bird, the cassowary. I always struggle to say it. This is found in Australia. It's flightless. Is anyone aware of this bird? Like, raise your hand if you know the cassowary. Yeah, it's like kick-ass. Whereas the kiwi, like our national bird in New Zealand, is flightless and pathetic, this thing is pretty much a velociraptor. It'll like tear your guts out immediately. The zoo was very cautious about how close we got because its little claws could like flick through the mesh and like grab us.
10-inch claws.
Yeah, it was intense, but like an amazing creature. I've never been this close. Life highlight.
Yeah. You got to feed him grapes and watermelon.
Yeah, for such a savage bird, it just wants watermelon and grapes. Like, you want it to be eating like steaks or something. It's just like, no, just give me a grape, please. This beautiful cockatoo. Look at this thing. I love a cockatoo. They're very loud. They're very obnoxious. Could you describe that noise that it made for us?
It was awful. It startled me.
Yeah, I've been into cockatoos for a long time. This is a palm cockatoo, which is a little bit more rare, and to be up close with one of those, again, dream come true. This is just basically like my dreams coming true that I'm showing to you and you have to suffer through, so thank you.
Speaking of dreams, David tried Dippin' Dots for the first time.
I'd heard about them before, but I'd never tried them.
So I got a few action shots. Him getting it, finally.
I was shocked. Like, you all know this, but Dippin' Dots, it's such a majestic way to eat ice cream. So this is brought to you by Dippin' Dots. But it's very, it's such a novel way I've just never eaten ice cream like this. I'm a big ice cream guy. We'll get to this later, but Happy Cones, they make New Zealand ice cream. They're outside. They're dope as hell. But I'd never tried these before, and they were magical. It's like a little party in your mouth.
You said 10 out of 10, right?
10 out of 10. Yeah, very, very happy. Very happy with the Dippin' Dot.
I don't think I've ever seen you go lower than a 7 on your rating.
I'm an enthusiastic person.
Yeah.
No, America. I'm from New Zealand where everything is just low key. And I'll always love that Americans are just really into stuff. And it's rubbing off on me. I really like it, legitimately.
Next up, we visited the Museum of Science and Nature, but mostly for the dioramas.
They are amazing. I don't know if you have taken in all of the dioramas here, but it's like I was there. Have you seen these? Look at them. It's very important when you take a photo that you put yourself in it. It's the main important thing. I was just stunned, and I now really want to meet the person, because I imagine it's like an 85-year-old person that's just putting all this together, and it's their specialty, because everything is just so specific and beautiful. This perspective's amazing. The painting's amazing.
Well, I think they're all taxidermy, which
that's crazy. There's some person out there just murdering all these animals, dragging them to Denver and stuffing them and putting them on display. They're incredible.
All right. Next up was Meow Wolf.
What a trip.
Last summer, I road tripped here with Calvin, and this was our trip to Meow Wolf. We had gone to the mall before, and he tried an icy for the first time. And it didn't sit well with him.
This place was, you know this. I've never been there before. I know it didn't start here. This is the biggest one you have in town here. I know some people see it as this big touristy thing. It's this artist collective that have come together. They've made it big. It's now worth probably hundreds of millions of dollars. It was amazing. It was mind-blowing. We don't have this stuff in New Zealand. I walk in there. I love that different spaces are curated by different people. Look at this. Look at that. It's amazing. Oh my God, it's a big spaceship. Yeah. Okay. So this was the OG.
Yeah, this was my favorite part of the trip.
We'd when we put out a request of for you guys to email in about where to go, this came up top. And often, you can be disappointed when the hype is too high. The final Mission Impossible film, the hype is very high. It was dog shit. This was incredible. The staff were amazing. I mean, it was like we're in a wonderland of wonderment. And my God, the food was great. These nachos are great. How was your dinner?
It was much better than I expected.
Yeah. We all know that Rob is a massive food snob and I eat McDonald's, so there's like a big difference here. But we met in the middle and I think we both had a good time.
We did, and there were divers.
Yeah. I mean, it's like this, it's a magical place. Obviously, I would have been so curious to go before it became this phenomenon and the South Park creators bought it and reinvented it and turned into this thing. I met someone earlier, though, that said it was like very similar. Like it was still magical, and they just basically did a bit of an upgrade, made it a little bit cleaner, less likely to get food poisoning, and it's now this really magical place. And honestly, it's a 10 out of 10. Like this place is dope as hell. If you haven't been there, go. It's amazing.
I will say, leaving though, I almost had a panic attack because we could not find the exit. I felt like we were in like a stage of hell trying to get out of there.
It took us about 10 minutes.
We would go through a door and be upstairs by the divers.
Yeah, every time we went to exit, we would end up next to like a half-naked diver. It's like we'd have to start again. It was amazing. Yeah. There was one like slight weird thing that we encountered here, and that was, I think whenever I go to a new American city, I always am curious about the flag content of the city. And you can always sort of tell how American a country is by like the number of flags that are out there. So anyway, cut a long story short, saw this flag. I thought it was a pride flag. I was like, look at all those colors. But obviously it's kind of like a variation on the thin blue line thing, which coming from LA at the moment where like ICE are like in here, it's ICE are being pieces of shit. I bristle at a flag like celebrating certain elements of law enforcement. This is a weird flag because it also drags in firefighters and I think ambulance people who are like amazing, and they'd probably want to be on the flag. Anyway, that's not my point. I saw the flag, and this introduced me to like an amazing family over here. Because I did like a little sick face and posted it, and I got old Josh saying, "Go back to New Zealand, dumbass libtard." And I was very happy with my response because I said, "Hey Josh," because he had messaged me a bunch of insults earlier. I just said, "I can't remember who you are, but you seem like a cunt." And that's a very like, thank you.
Don't encourage him.
It's a very New Zealand like word, an insult. And I know in America it's like a very intense thing, but in New Zealand it's kind of a bit comical, and you're kind of like you're an asshole, but come on. And the magic about this response, and I suggest if any of you are coming back to anyone, you send the response and then you immediately block them so they can't respond. So he got that.
Yeah, but then what happened?
It wasn't over. Smoking Fox entered the chat. So Smoking Fox claimed to be his sister-in-law, and she came in swinging. And I think this is a new bio that I want to use for this whole show. Guy from New Zealand, career is built on weird internet rabbit holes, lectures Americans, from a rent-controlled corner of California. You'd think someone who'd built a platform on quirky storytelling would know the difference between facts and whatever half-baked narrative he's currently spinning. Being rude to my brother-in-law while preaching from a soapbox you didn't even build? That's not bold, that's pathetic. FYI, this was entirely written by ChatGPT. Clearly. Which is an amazing use. Like, insult David Farrier. Go. If you're even going to masquerade as someone as a moral authority, maybe start by acting like a decent human being. Because this is a good bit. Because right now, you're just another loud guest in a country that's letting you shout. Magic. Thank you, ChatGPT. Okay, so then, someone came into that comment and said, I can't believe his sister is speaking up for him. That wasn't his sister before, but his sister then enters the chat. That wasn't his sister, but I have something to say. And I just love this. I mean, are you out there, Josh?
Alyssa or...
You're amazing. And I just love the idea of a family coming together to just like team up and be like, fuck you, Kiwi. Get fucked. I mean, they're probably sleeping together. It feels like they are, but this just brought me a great deal of delight because I've been online for a long time. A lot of people say mean things because it's the internet. It's the first time in my entire time online where a family has come together and like defended someone. And I think it's kind of magic and I really like it. So that was kind of the perfect lead-in to the next segment in the show, which is Denver Man. Began as a thing, Florida Man. We all know Florida Man. But Denver Man, there's a Denver Man. There's an every American city man. Our first headline, Denver Man becomes licensed. I can never say this word. It always panics me.
Psilocybin.
Oh, my God.
You were very close.
After a stroke. This is quite a nice story. After using psychedelic mushrooms to heal from a stroke, a Denver man is studying to become a
psilocybin?
Oh, I'm just going to stop. You can chip in whenever I have to say that
The P
word.
is silent.
Facilitated so we can help others. Voters approved the legalization of certain psychedelic mushrooms in November of 2022. Colorado is the second state after Oregon to launch a psychedelic therapy program. Respect. Love this. Let's move on to the next one. Love this. Denver man literally dodges bullet thanks to his chain necklace. This is great. A man in Colorado literally dodged a bullet thanks to his chain, according to police. The victim was wearing a silver chain, 10 millimeters in width, when he got into an argument with an armed man on Tuesday, according to police. The suspect fired, but instead of hitting the victim in the neck, the .22 caliber bullet got lodged in the chain, police said. The victim only suffered a puncture wound, police said. Great quote. We'd say he really dodged a bullet, but in reality, he lodged a bullet. Fuck, cops are lame, aren't they? Just so lame. The chain is likely the only reason the victim of a shooting we responded to yesterday is still alive, police said. Just incredible. The suspect, who's not named, was arrested and is facing attempted homicide charges. So yeah, maybe time to get a chain. I don't know. It's not something I ever thought I'd do, but maybe that's what we should do. In case that family comes out to get us. Denver man stabbed his uncle to death after fight over hot sauce escalated. The thing with these, they're I know they're sort of funny, but you got to remember someone died and they're awful, but I'm a big fan of hot sauce. You're not a massive fan of hot sauce?
No.
No. Okay, we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
So, a jury has found a Denver man guilty in the stabbing death of his uncle during an argument that escalated over a bottle of hot sauce. George, 20, was convicted on Monday after a 4-day trial and 5 hours of deliberation. He was initially charged with second-degree murder, but was convicted of the lesser charge of manslaughter in connection with the September 22nd, 2024 death of a 39-year-old. According to a probable cause statement, Vigil told officers that someone in the house was making a sandwich and he wanted hot sauce. When Vigil reportedly responded that the condiment was in an upstairs bedroom, which doesn't seem too controversial. Also, why was the hot sauce in a bedroom?
Who keeps hot sauce upstairs?
You keep it in the kitchen, right? Yeah. So maybe it was a reason to get angry. I don't know. It's in a bedroom. He responded to the condiment being in an upstairs bedroom by having a verbal dispute, and it quickly escalated into a physical fight. At some point during the fight, Vigil stabbed his uncle. He was later pronounced. These stories always start a bit funny and then end up really dark, and I regret bringing them up in the first place.
Yeah.
But I guess my point is keep the hot sauce in the kitchen. And if it's in a bedroom, just take some deep breaths, get through it. It's going to be okay. I'm guessing there were some other issues around this that we don't know about.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, sorry, it always gets into a downer.
Yeah.
All right, now, usually when we create these live shows, I mean, it's so silly. Podcasts are meant to be easy. It's meant to be two dudes chatting, right? And that's all they do is chat. I feel like we've created this kind of weird hell for us where every week we deliver a bit more than that.
Yeah.
Right?
I wouldn't call it hell. Oh, David.
I mean, that's a negative approach. I'm being overly dramatic. But we have to we want to create a bit more. And it's the same with these live shows. We want to make each show specific to each city. Usually we have 2 live guests for every show. Denver was so packed with good shit, we have 4 guests. So this is going to get quite intense, but we're just going to get through it.
Yeah, okay? Very rapid fire.
Yeah. Okay. Now I like to write my little introductions so they sound really professional. So here we go. If you're not aware, Denver is home to the International Cryonics Museum, found at the Stanley Hotel is it Estes or Estes Park? Okay. A hotel that partly inspired Stephen King's The Shining. in 1977. I love Stephen King. Look, full disclosure, I didn't get there this trip. Next trip, I'm going. Cryonics is a practice of freezing recently deceased people in the hopes that future science will figure out how to revive them. The Cryonics Museum actually has a frozen human body there. Bredo Morstel died in Norway in 1989. His daughter and grandson were both really into cryonics. So they froze him, then they shipped him to California, and for some reason he now sits here in Denver waiting to be reawakened again. The man who helped get that body to Denver, who had a big hand in the Cryonics Museum, is James Arrowwood, the CEO and president of Alcor. Alcor is a nonprofit organization dedicated to cryonics here in America. They have over 1,500 members, 250 who are currently dead and frozen, waiting for science to catch up. All of this, frankly, blows my fucking mind. So please welcome to the stage Alcor's main man, CEO, President, and General Counsel, James Arrowwood. James has flown in just for this show. Thank you for being here.
This is wild. What a great venue, great crowd. This is great. This is fun.
Okay, so just to clarify, you have 1,500 members.
We do.
250 roughly who are frozen currently?
Patients, we call them, yes.
Okay, patients.
Yes.
When did you get into cryonics?
Well, technically about 10 years ago, but I was just kind of outsider, didn't know much about it. In fact, I think the conversation was like, you do what? And I was the attorney that got all the really weird tech stuff. I do tech and healthcare, and this kind of combines the two. Thank you. I got a phone call in Phoenix. I was there at the time doing other emerging tech stuff, and the lawyers were like, we don't know what to do with this place. Call James. That's how I got the call. That's the honest truth.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And so just take me through the situation we have here in Estes Park with Grandpa up there who's frozen. What is he doing? Is there a chance that he will come back, or is he more just like a symbol of what is possible?
Well, let me clarify a little bit. We certainly don't promise this is going to work. Okay? I want to be clear. There's a lot of people who are extremely hopeful, and we have 1,500 members, of which 10% absolutely will tell you this is going to work. 10% are like, this is never going to work, but it's really valuable for science. We are actually a nonprofit, kind of crowd-funded science lab. And this has applications for organ banking, near-extinct animal preservation, space travel. That's why we have space people on our shirts. If you want to go distant space, you're going to have to do it this way, and biologically hibernate. Okay? So all of this science goes to that. But in Bredo's case, we got a phone call from John Cullen, who runs a Stanley, amazing guy. And I at first said, hell no way. I was brought in about 2 years ago to kind of turn Alcor's messaging around. Scientists aren't great at that part of things, and they weren't explaining things well. So the board asked me to come on. I was outside attorney for him. And I said, okay. And then John calls me about 3 months into this thing, and I made the mistake of telling my membership director, Diane, she gets a ton of credit for this. I said, you always have to go somewhere to see what you're dealing with. Literally get on a plane, go out, talk to the people face to face, break bread. So I get this call from John, and he's like, hey, there's this guy been frozen in dry ice for 30 years. I want you to crack him out. I'll donate space. You guys do this remote cryopreservation. I was like, this sounds like a carnival show. Okay, and that's specifically what I was brought in to not do. Said, hell no. And then Diane's like, but James, you said you have to go. I was like, damn it. Okay. So I got on a plane, and John was credible. You need a team of engineers. Like, this is not a simple thing, by the way. This is not just like, unfortunately, Bredo was literally just put in dry ice. Right. I mean, this is wild.
And no, I'm aware of this.
Are you?
It's batshit.
I have to be more diplomatic. But I got the call, and there was a lot of stuff being said. Anyhow, so I get on the plane. I go there. And it turns out that Stanley has a team of engineers on staff. Okay, they have security personnel. They have all this stuff. There's a lot involved. And there's also a high risk, but then ethically, you're like, we couldn't do this to a member patient. We couldn't put them on dry ice. But scientifically, immensely valuable to know if they've been well preserved on 30 years on dry ice, because it has to do with temperatures. It's wild stuff. Scientists get mad at me because I misstate things all the time. But nonetheless, immensely valuable for science. And then he starts talking to me, whatever. You go to the restaurant. And next thing you know, I'm like, maybe we can do this. But hey, I'm a nonprofit. We don't have money for this kind of stuff. But for public education, it's part of our deal. He said, I'll donate the space. I'll cover the costs.
So that's when you jumped on board and you're like, I will make this a thing.
We just created what I call the DART team, Deployment and Recovery Team.
Okay, that sounds terrifying.
No. Yes and no. Time to temperature for organ banking, for organ procurement, which is a big part of what we're actually working on is kidneys, for instance. You only have a 6 to 10 hour viability window. That's super important for organ banking and those sorts of things. But in the past, it's been very hard to get your body quickly. Now, you're a pretty tall, big guy. There's these chemicals involved called cryoprotective agents, extraordinarily expensive. They're literally from nature isolating fish proteins or wood frogs. If you guys check this out, go on Google, look at a video of a wood frog. They freeze entirely in the thaw and they're alive.
They come back.
They do.
Right.
So nature kind of has the answer. It's just like medicines on a lot of this stuff. But then you have to synthesize it, whatever. So you're going to cost me $80,000.
Yeah.
And I don't get a discount.
No.
Okay?
And that's why, so just rewind for a second here, because I'm genuinely blown away by what you do.
Why?
I'm also, so I'm terrified. I've talked about this on the podcast. So I'm terrified of dying. I don't want to die. I'm very happy living and I want to go on. And
you should.
That's partly rational. The reason I got you here is I would like a freebie or something. But no, essentially, I hate the idea. It's out of my hands. I don't want to die. The idea that I could come to you as a patient.
Sure.
I could sign up when I die, basically you as quickly as possible.
Yes.
Get my body.
Yes, and we do.
You pump me with certain chemicals. I understand upside down, so stuff flows to my brain because the brain's the most important part. If I have a lot of money, you can freeze my entire body.
No,
if I have less money, chop off the head.
No. Well, yes, we do neuroseparation, sir. The technical science term. But first of all, it doesn't require the money you think it does. And that's a big misnomer. I want to educate people. Look, we have to cover our costs. We actually lose money on about 50% of our recoveries. Mm-hmm. But in science, you have to have the samples, the ends, they call it, the ends. You would be an N, okay? But I'm going to lose $50,000 on you, so you're kind of pissing me off already. But I don't get it for free. I run the place. I got to pay for my own.
Yeah.
And I'm a neuro. But most people fund this through life insurance.
Okay.
And you assign it. Yeah, and if you do it right, it's the same cost as a funeral. It's just very rational. Your whole life was built on supporting this, right? Mm-hmm. And if we get a good cryopreservation, we're actually at the point now where molecular scientists can look at your neural synaptic connections and see that the protein bridges are maintained. It's almost like a solid state hard drive. So the rational scientific basis is, hey, if that's uninjured and undamaged, we know already, we're not in the revival business, we're in the preservation business, but like Neuralink is connecting to brains. They know it can output signals and everything else. So if your brain is well preserved in its physical state, there really isn't a reason it shouldn't be recoverable in some of your memories and everything else.
Well, are people doing this while they're dying and alive?
Okay. We will not touch a body until a third party is declared you legally dead.
So I should chip in here.
Yes.
And when I was talking to Rosabelle for the show, I said you were going to be a guest. And her impression, which I think a lot of people's are, is that you're freezing people while they're alive. But you can't do that because that's murder.
No.
Or assisted suicide.
Or assisted suicide.
Someone terminally ill.
Yeah.
That we have been bedside when people make those choices, but that is not anything we promote or touch or anything else. That's not what we're trying to do here. But yes, I mean, you will get an excellent cryopreservation because those chemicals are going right into your body. We're trying to maintain your circulatory system.
Yeah,
it's a circuit. And
so when I'm near the end, I've signed up. I'm near the end.
Good question.
I'm sort of texting you. I'm feeling quite bad. I think I'll be dead in 10 minutes.
That's for real. That is for real.
Absolutely. You're sort of, how are you getting me to your lab to put on ice?
I approach this, Alcor's been around over 50 years, if you didn't know. It was kind of a garage band. A lot of volunteers, a lot of very sincere, really smart PhDs and everything. But they're not medical specialists in logistics and medicine and stuff. So when I started, I'd come from emerging tech. I happened to have some connections with the special forces. So I actually brought in retired SEALs. There's one here in the audience today. He's one of our DART team guys. Was at Brado. Yeah, he's here.
Right.
Awesome human being.
He'll sweep in and get me if I'm back in New Zealand.
No joke. Like, look, I'll show you. We have a red phone. So this is like literally a special phone. If this goes off, everything stops. These guys pick up.
Yeah,
2
right.
hours to get transportation hub anywhere in the world. We have 19 places throughout the United States, 18, 19. Canada, we're just getting SAS in Europe wired up. It's wild. And then if you're in a car wreck, you wear this. Mm-hmm. And this is weird because a lot of the world's like kind of most well-known people might be members. I'm not allowed to say exactly. But you can kind of tell maybe they might be wearing a bracelet. It's like a medic alert, or wear this. This has a number on it. If that number gets called, and it's always 3 in the morning, and it's a Friday, okay? God bless my team. No, my team, if they even believe in that, but my team is amazing. Like, it's not me. The science team, the DART people, we have hospice nurses, we have firefighter rescue, and they have to go through a whole selection process. It's incredibly competitive. There's a whole reserve list of special forces now, and they go anywhere in the world, 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours notice. You have a 6 to 12 hour viability window. The brain up to 24 hours. But yes, we will come get you. Thailand, Costa Africa last year, 2 years.
Holy shit. New Zealand?
Haven't been there, but we can get there.
I'll stay here.
We'll get there.
No, I'm joking.
Right.
I'm genuinely curious about this because I don't want to die. I hate Elon Musk, but I'll get his little chip in my brain. This is another option. I mean, if I'm going to be burnt or buried,
sure, it's
why
irrational.
not freeze me? I can put my life insurance. I need to get a life insurance policy first.
Yes.
I can put that in.
We can help with that.
And there's a little chance that old Davey will come back in 1,000 years. And you, Rob, you could come back too.
Look, I'm not even committing to that much. I'm simply saying that right now, for the same cost you're going to pay anyways, it's utterly logical and rational that you spent 40 years of your life, or whatever it is, preserving this. And by the way, the notion of a brain bank, like Einstein's brain was cut up into 300 pieces. They couldn't even envision CT scans.
It's a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess. But we knew it was different. They measured it, and it was different. Never be studied for science. At the minimum, and we do get a lot of creative people, so artists, entertainers, but then scientists, right? And they recognize how much they've invested in their brain. And for my purposes, for the science team, it's like, we can actually see differences, different testing modalities we can't even envision today, right? That's incredibly valuable for the evolution of human intelligence. Like, that alone is reason to do it. And it costs you the same as a funeral. I call it the third way. It's a third way. It's the most rational thing because...
That's a great slogan, the third way.
Thank you. We trademarked that this year.
Just quickly... because we're going to bring you back at the end for a Q&A.
And T-shirts. We have T-shirts, this T-shirt.
We've got T-shirts. As far as like your customer base,
yes.
This is like just who is your oldest, your youngest, and do you have animals on ice to bring back?
No, did you do Walt Disney? Isn't he Frozen?
There's a movie called Frozen, but I don't know. No, look, we can't confirm or deny. I don't even address confidence. I have people literally watching my face on some of these. You can Google it. I will tell you that literally people who have singularly changed the world are members. Top scientists, the smartest people on earth are members. It's wild. Absolutely wild. Mm-hmm. And I get to meet these people. That's honestly one of the great parts of the job.
Any animals?
Yes, we have near extinct animals. We also do pets. But the reason for that is dogs actually have a blood-brain barrier. And this technology could be quite useful for brain cancer. Because the cryoprotective agents already get in the brain. Chemotherapies don't. That's why glioblastomas are so dangerous and deadly. Okay. We have all that data, but dogs have an even bigger filter. So if we can get through the dogs, we can probably get chemotherapy to the brain on the molecular level. So I want to push money into all this, but we're privately funded. That's the good news, though, because this government cut stuff doesn't affect us.
Great.
We're private, yeah.
I'll be okay. My head will be safe on ice.
24/7 security, got special forces walking around. You're in a good shape, like if you're at Alcor.
Holy shit. Thank you.
It's wild.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have to bring on the next guest. Thank you. We're going to have you back for the Q&A at the end.
Stay tuned for more Flightless Bird. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Support for Flightless Bird comes from Bombers. Now, summer is here. I know this for sure because I'm in New York and it is sweltering. And it's summertime, we're all chasing something. A break, a goal, a vibe. Don't let bad socks and blisters ruin it. Bombers make socks, and now slides and seamless essentials as well, that keep up with whatever your summer looks like. Like, if you're into running, Bombers has running socks. They deal with sweat, they help keep you cool, and they fight blisters. And it's not just about running. They make specialized pairs for hiking, tennis, golf, you name it.
Now, I've talked about this before on the podcast. They're also travel ready. They make socks that can make international flights feel bearable. They do compression socks, and they help curb aches and keep your legs energized for all the sightseeing you've got ahead. I wear Bombas socks because they're just incredibly comfortable and they look good. I literally have Bombas socks on right now. And the thing I love the most about them is they are tight around your ankles and your legs. You know, socks that start flopping and like dripping down your ankle? That's not going to happen with Bombas. You can also order Bombas abroad. That's right, along with the US, they now ship internationally to over 200 countries. I love my Bombas socks. I have a pair on at the moment that is white. They have 3 black stripes around the top, and I wear these things with pride. I love them so much. Head over to bombas.com and use code BIRD for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com, code BIRD at checkout. Bombas.com and use code BIRD. Support for Flightless Bird comes from Quince. Now, I'm not a big trend chaser. That's just not me, but I'm about stuff that feels right, it feels good, and it actually lasts. That's why I keep coming back to Quince. Their lightweight layers and high-quality staples have become my everyday essentials. And one of the best things about Quince, everything with Quince is half the cost of similar brands. And by working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middleman, Quince gives you luxury pieces without the markups. And for me, the most important thing, they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. Now, I hear you saying, like, what fabrics? What are you talking about? At the moment, I am very much into their swimwear. I just got a pair of their Italian swim trunks because it's summer and I need a new pair of togs. Togs are what we call trunks in New Zealand, so sorry, that's confusing. I love my Italian swim trunks, and I also love their underwear. They do some boxer briefs that I love, and I've also got some trunks from them in black and blue, and good God, they are comfortable. I've also got a bunch of their merino all-season t-shirts. They are so breathable, they're so comfortable, and it's one of those t-shirt fits that when you put it on, it just works. You know, some t-shirts, you get them, and they feel horrible on your body, or they look bad. Not Quince. Love them. Oh, and they also have sunscreens. I just got some SPF 31 sunscreen from them, and it is great. Summer's here. I want to keep safe. So, stick to the staples that last with elevated essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/bird for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/bird to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/bird. Rob, if you were, you have a family.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Who would you're locked in, your head is frozen, you're sorted. You can freeze one more person. You can include me in that if you like. Who are you freezing to be reanimated in about 500 years when science catches up with you?
I mean, probably Vincent.
Yeah, and either you go for the youngest, right?
Yeah. That's the only reason.
Yeah, the others, they've lived more of a life. They can die normally. You and Vincent come back in 500 years. I love this. We've been talking a lot about putting dead humans in freezers, but most of us do not choose that option. Instead, we go into a coffin, which is then loaded into the back of a hearse. Hearses were originally powered by horses, carriages carting human remains to their final destination. But hearses, as we know them today, motorized and with room for a coffin, were introduced in the 1900s here in the beautiful United States of America. And while many of us don't spend a lot of time thinking about hearses, some people do. And Zachary Helm is the leader of the Denver Hearse Club. And I would like you to welcome Zachary to the stage. Zach, by far, has the best hair of anyone that you will see on stage tonight. Zach, how long has this been your look, would you say?
Okay, I don't want to answer that because that's going to age me. I've tried to choose a style that won't tell people how old I am. But no, I originally started doing this about 1991.
What was it like? Explain first, like what a hearse club is, because a number of listeners emailed in about you, and I'd never heard of hearse clubs. Are they like a regular car club except it's just hearses?
Yeah, and I once heard somebody say about the internet that no matter what kind of a niche thing you're into, you will find other people on the internet who are into that same thing. And that's very true. The Hearse Club actually started in about 1996, before we really had common access to the internet. But the internet is how we really grew. When I first started, I just really wanted to connect with other people who shared the same obsession that I do, because I get very obsessive about my interests. It's part of the reason I never started drugs or alcohol, is because I know I have an obsessive personality.
It would be bad.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, I'll just get into cars and I'll be financially destitute and unemployable through that means.
Why hearses? What was the thing about that particular vehicle that made you think that is the thing that I want to get involved with?
Well, a lot of times I've found that on a long enough timeline, people's ironic interests will sort of become what they're known for and what they actually become passionate about. And that was definitely for me. I just thought it would be a fun, kind of spooky car to drive as a goth person, because it was very much when you're into this kind of aesthetic, a very sophomore kind of motivation to do things is to say, well, what can I do that's shocking? What can I do that, that will shock people and shock myself? That's something that I like the experience of finding something that shocks me and going, oh, could I be a part of that? Could I interact with that? And the thought occurred to me that there are cars that have had dead bodies in the back of it. And that was the primary motivator. And,
Very goth. Deeply goth.
Oh, no. And the thing is that as time goes on, I got more into things like the styling of the cars, the manufacturing, just the look, preserving the history. So it was kind of an ironic, hipster D-bag kind of interest, but the goth version of that. Is
there anything about hearses that you think there's like a misconception? Because I've seen hearses externally. I've never been inside a hearse. Are there misconceptions about what they're like?
Yes, there's a misconception that they will always be fun and reliable. They will be hellish bitch goddesses that will dominate and change the landscape of your life if you let them. And I clearly have, yes.
Did you drive a hearse here?
Yeah. I drove my limo here. So
really?
It's a funeral limo. So yeah.
Of course it's a funeral limo.
Yeah.
So how many hearses or limos do you have in your fleet, and where do you keep these things?
It's a very protean number. It changes commonly because I buy and I sell them. When you get into a niche interest, other people who know that you're into that weird thing, they love to tell you, I saw one. That's something your friends, families, and anybody adjacent to you will love to do. They'll go, I saw this off of the highway, thinking that, because you saw some broken down hearse 5 hours outside of Denver, and you're going to give me the rough coordinates of a 5-mile radius to search through. You think I'm going to drive all that way just to go check it out? Because I'm fucking going to. You're absolutely correct. So, yeah, I end up buying and selling a lot of them.
Do any people ever find it offensive that you have a hearse? Is it ever an issue, or is it just a fun thing?
There's kind of a contrarian thing that happens, and it's that the more you try to be repellent, the less it's going to work. So
you seem like you're one of the least repellent people I've met recently.
Yeah,
you are. It's not.
Thank you.
You're not.
Well, the car that's on screen right now, I built it because I wanted to convey that I don't think that I'm a crazy, dangerous person, but I like for people to think that, because it deflects a lot of public interaction.
That's also what crazy, dangerous people say.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. And I really thought that building that car would repel people and I was looking for less interaction with it, and it backfired.
Explain the burning cop car. What was behind that photo?
Oh, that was for a lovely little film that I made. I did 3 chapters of it. I didn't finish it. It was an award-winning title called Death Hearse on Satan's Titty Highway.
You must finish that.
Yeah, and it boasted the comedy gold, which is police cars getting blown up and trashed.
Fucking A.
I go by the Blues Brothers mentality that more is better. So that was out at Colorado National Speedway. We would buy any $500 car we could find, paint it black and white, throw a light bar on it, and then just start throwing gasoline at it and just doing whatever we could to destroy it. You would be amazed at the things that you can destroy with just a few gallons of gasoline. It's my life tip for all of you guys. Write that down.
Can you tell us the craziest hearse you had? Or the coolest, the most elaborate?
I mean, obviously that one's the craziest. But the thing about old cars, and cars in general, but especially the old ones, they all do have very much personalities. And I'm kind of a guy who likes the cars based on how I interact with them. So I've had some utter just crap piles of cars that were rusty that I loved. I absolutely loved them. And I've had other cars where people would go, "Were you insane for getting rid of that car?" And it's like, listen, I need to tell you, I was with that car for 8 years. And if that bitch was a woman, I would have broken up with her after the first year. It's like, no, you definitely have breakups with cars. So I tend to judge the cars kind of on personality. But that's my craziest one. The rest of them tend to be more like
traditional.
Yeah, traditional stock. And also there's a saturation point with vehicles where you stop having the money to modify them, and it all just gets channeled into keeping them running and operational.
Finally, when you pass away yourself, will you be transported in one of your own hearses, or are you being won over into the idea of being put on ice and possibly revived at a later date?
Or both.
Or driven in a hearse to the Angkor facility and frozen to be revived 500 years later with Rob and Vincent and myself.
You know, you're assuming that that anybody who knows me would actually be able to get one of my cars started to begin with.
Yeah, so you're fucked. You're the only one that can drive them.
Yeah, there's always something with these old cars where it's like, just so you know, when you slam on the brakes, it's gonna veer to the right, or you have to put it into neutral when you stop and rev the engine so that the carburetor doesn't die. It's a whole wizardry thing. It's like this Rube Goldberg machine of just trying to keep it running while it's going down the road. So with a lot of my cars. So
for people here, is there a place that, like, when are you next in public with your hearses? Do you have a thing coming up, or do people go to a website, or?
Yeah, so we have hearseclub.com, very easy to remember. We're doing an event called Some Sort of Spook Show, which is going to be on September 27th, and we'll have the hearses there. We will also have a weaponized RC car demo derby at that event. So if you don't have an innate fear of deep tissue lacerations, you can show up at that event and, I don't know, maybe get winged by a car part that's flying at you. So, yeah.
Amazing. Deeply American to have weaponized hearses.
Yeah.
I love this for you. We're going to have you back at the end. Thank you so much, Zach.
Thank you.
You're a legend. Best hair of all time. Thank you, sir. I'm blown away. I want a hearse. I tried to rent a hearse for a friend's thing, and they were incredibly hard to find in LA. In Denver, maybe not so hard. Now, Rob, have you heard of hokey pokey ice cream?
No.
Never? Some of you out there have. So Happy Cones is an ice cream spot that you have here in your beautiful city. It was started by Hap, who is a Kiwi, and they specialize in New Zealand flavors. And they have an ice cream truck out the front tonight. You're welcome. Please, after the show, buy an ice cream because it's fucking beautiful. They have 2 flavors that I would like to sort of share with you from New Zealand. One is orange choc chip. I grew up with it. It's magnificent. Even better than that is hokey pokey, which is basically New Zealand's form of honeycomb and ice cream. Happy Cones is here. They're going to come on stage and feed you, Robert, your first ever hokey pokey. And I'm just deeply curious what you make of it. Because for me, hello, Happy Cones. Thank you so much. You must go out. They've literally, to get that parking spot out the front, they've been circling the block since 1 p.m. They're amazing. Okay, Rob.
Do I need to get a honeycomb with this?
What kind of question is that?
I'm trying. Absolutely. They're big.
Yeah, get a bit of honeycomb, get some ice cream.
It was a good content.
Just let it sink in. I haven't had this in America before, and it's like I'm home.
It is really good.
Fuck, that honeycomb's good. Yeah, no, that's the shit. It's like brittle and crunchy, and it's the only way ice cream is meant to be devoured, and I think America doesn't know this. Happy Cones. I'm doing an ad for them because I love them. They're fucking great. Go and get one afterwards. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
I'd give that a 9 out of 10.
A 9. That's high for you. Holy shit. You can't trust my 10 out of 10s because I just give everything a 10 out of 10?
Yep.
Okay, our next guest. I'm big on segues between all of our guests, but I had a big problem with the order of this entire show. Because Cryonics and Death segued so well into Hearses and Hearse clubs, so I went with that. My other plan was to segue from Cryonics into this next topic, but I blew that all on segueing into Hearse clubs. And now here I am, not sure how to segue from Hearse clubs back to another icy topic.
Ice cream into this.
Oh, God, there's ice cream. That would have been a good segue. I could have jumped from that to that. Yeah. Fuck! So annoying. This is fine. We're back on ice. I was surprised to learn that Colorado has the largest collection of ice core samples, not only in the United States, but in the entire fucking planet, right here in Denver. Richard is the assistant curator at the National Science Foundation Ice Core Facility in Lakewood, Colorado. There, he oversees ice core samples from places like Antarctica and Greenland, and they're stored in a large freezer kept at negative 36 degrees. His primary job is to distribute samples of this precious ice to scientists all over the world as they look at perfectly preserved gas bubbles trapped in the ice to find out what the heck is going on with our climate. Please welcome Richard to the stage, who has a lot of ice under his care. Hi, Richard. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
I'm really good. You look after, am I correct, it is the largest ice core collection in the world?
That is correct. It's the largest collection of ice core samples on the planet.
That is a big responsibility.
It does feel like it sometimes, yeah. I've been doing it for about 15 years now, so sometimes I forget how important it is.
How many ice core samples do you have in this giant freezer?
Approximately 30,000 meters worth. Which a fun part about that is this freezer's existed for about 30 years, and we just had a new one built because this one's at the end of its life. So in January, I get to move all 30,000 meters into a new facility.
This feels like the plot to a film, because also I've noticed like Denver is incredibly hot. The idea of transporting this to another freezer seems wrought with, like, how are you going to do that?
So fortunately, our new freezer is in the same warehouse building that the old one is, so we're literally moving it about 100 meters away.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not that heavy, right?
I think we estimated it's something like 20 million tons worth, but yeah.
Jesus. And so wait, I'm going to get this.
Oh, yes. Our little baby ice core.
That's not a real one, though.
Over the show, this will melt. And that's your cue to leave the stage.
I should have brought one.
Explain what we're looking at here.
So this is actually a recreation of a real section of ice from the Greenland ice sheet. So back in 1990, U.S. researchers went and drilled through the entirety of the thickest part of the Greenland ice sheet, which is about 3,000 meters of ice. It's about 2 miles for us Americans. And this is a replica of a section from about 1,800 meters down. And those layers that you guys see in there are actual visible layers that we see within the ice that is essentially winter and summer months as we see dust variation increase during the winter and decrease during the summer. So we can see these clear and cloudy layers. In fact, that one that I'm holding in the picture there is what we replicated this piece off of. That particular piece I'm holding there is from about 16,000 years ago, which is super cool for me to think about that's snow that fell 16,000 years ago and has not melted yet.
When I first heard about what you did, I'm a big X-Files guy, and I'm deeply aware that there are like alien microbes frozen in ice, and like when they melt, chaos is going to ensue. That's clearly not what you're interested in. Like, what's the primary? Am I right in thinking the primary purpose is basically like ancient, well, not very old atmospheres that you can check in on to see like how the atmosphere is changing? Is that right?
Yeah. Simply put, ice cores are just the best record of what our Earth's climate has been doing for the last roughly. Currently, the oldest continuous core we have is 850,000 years. We're hoping to get one. The Europeans just finished one that they think is going to be 1.2 million years old, but they're still working on dating that.
Wait, so when you're transporting that one to the other freezer, will you like be personally just making sure that one is extra safe, like holding it?
All of those very special pieces, I'm going to make sure I'm actually the one that carries them over.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to have some intern do that.
Has there ever been like one that you've sort of dropped and it's broken and you're just being like, oh, God?
Of course you're going to fucking ask me that. So again, I've been doing this for 15 years. I have dropped one ice core about 2 years into my career. It was a relatively shallow piece from like 200 meters down, maybe like 2,000 years old. Okay. Pushed it off the back of a cart. It didn't completely shatter, but I had to pull it out and log all the brakes and put my initials on it. So I have an infamous Richard Nunn ice core.
It's just something you do only once.
Only once
in your entire life.
I learned my lesson pretty quickly.
And I'm sort of scared to bring this up, but you're obviously looking at the atmosphere. Am I right in thinking that we're on the up, everything's fine?
Everything's fine. Things are totally not on fire.
All the graphs we're all okay?
So just to give the science and let people interpret from that what they will, when we look at these ice cores giving us 850,000 years of atmospheric information and temperature information, we see that we go through these, what we call glacial and interglacial cycles. We have these 100,000-year periods where global temperatures are about 8 degrees colder than they are now. New York City is under like a mile of ice. Over a couple thousand years, things will warm up to climates like they are today, and we've had, I don't know, a dozen or so of these cycles. When we look at what's happening in the atmosphere, during those cold periods, CO2 is around 200 parts per million. During the warm periods, it's around 300 parts per million. We've never seen it breach that in the entire ice core record. Pre-industrial era, we were at 280 ppm of CO2. Today, we're at 430. So take from that what you will.
God. It's weird because in America, since I came here 4 years ago, it feels like this country is like going through some shit. But then, like, just a little bit. I don't know if you've noticed. But then you look at ice core and you're like, no, just like as a entire ecosystem, like we're going through some shit. And I sort of sometimes forget about that. And it must be, I imagine it's like in the position you're in, you're seeing this data. Is it frustrating that some of this stuff isn't cutting through? Because we're all so busy with like these little day-to-day horrific things going on that are horrific. You've got this big picture thing. Like, does that sometimes trip you out as far as like what we're caring about and not caring about?
Yeah, it does. It's kind of hard to wrap your brain around it because, like, I mean, in some cases, I'll be handling ice that was deposited before the human species existed. And so we are looking at this big picture. But when you really just look at the data, it's pretty obvious what's going on. Unfortunately, when we try and explain that to the general public, something gets lost in translation. Maybe it's not sexy enough. And then especially when we try and get that to the people that actually make policy decisions, it's just like talking to a brick wall.
Because to me, it feels like it's this issue of there's so much clutter going on. Like I barely find it possible to conceive what has changed since yesterday. And that's the problem, right? It's so hard to like look forward into those big like futuristic problems as opposed to just the chaos of the day. That's what you've got to try and compete with.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. We all live in a human timescale. Anything more than 100 years, we don't really think about a whole lot. And these sorts of changes that we look at in the natural world, they take place over thousands of years. So conceptualizing that kind of time to a human lifespan is really difficult, especially when we're just dealing with all the shit that we have to deal with day to day. But when we see this information that is pretty black and white with ice cores and all of the other kinds of resources that we go through, to the planet to understand how things naturally change, and then seeing what humans have done with all of this excess carbon and other things that we're mucking up, the conclusions are pretty obvious. But it does require a fair amount of desire to actually research and understand what this data tells us. And a lot of people just don't have time for that.
Just finally, in a really practical sense, your job, like I have a friend in New Zealand, Hayden, who I often call when I'm not calling Rosabelle. His cat died and he put it in the freezer because he wasn't sure if he was going to, like, where he was going to bury it. Uh-huh. And then they were away on holiday and the power went out and he came back to like sort of like melted cat sort of coming out over the floor of the house.
Oh, no. This was the freezer he uses regularly?
It's the downstairs freezer,
okay.
So he has there was also, I think, his child's umbilical cord in there.
Oh, God.
So he came back to umbilical and cat kind of across the floor. Anyway, my point is, you're looking after probably the world's most important freezer. Mm-hmm. It's a sort of backup. You've got a little generator there if it goes down, because, again, this is also, it seems like a really bad place to store ice. It's so fucking hot. Like, why is the ice here? So my questions are the backup generators, and why Denver? Is it because it's in the middle of America, but it's also so hot? Store it somewhere cold.
You make some good points. Okay. Yes, we actually do have a lot of backups, not just generators, but all sorts of other systems. And I believe your first guest was talking about this too. Whenever something goes wrong, it does send out an alarm to us. And it's never when I'm at work at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's always 1 o'clock in the morning on the 4th of July. So I go and I nice talk all of my equipment to make sure it's going to behave itself over the long holiday weekend. But yeah, in the 30 years that we've been running, we've never been shut down for more than a couple of hours due to something failing, because we have a lot of backups to take care of this. In terms of why it's in Denver, I've had a lot of people ask that question, and I didn't know for a long time. I finally asked someone. When the National Science Foundation decided they wanted to build a lab like this, they were working with the USGS on drilling this Greenland ice sheet core, and they tapped a USGS scientist to build this lab, and she lived here. So it's here.
I love that. Thank you. I think we have to end there. We'll get you back for the Q&A. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
You're amazing. Thank you. Thank you. It's usually like the simplest answer is the reason. They lived here. It's really good. The person that emailed me with sort of the tip-off that he existed in Denver and they had this big ice core sample, they were like, everything's in Denver, like all the military secrets are here because it's like the middle. And it's like, that's why the ice core lab is here. No, it's just someone lived here. They're too lazy to move.
Stay tuned for more Flightless Bird. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Flightless Bird is brought to you by Smalls. Now, if you know me, you will know that I am a massive fan of cats. I spend a lot of my life trying to find cats to pat. When I was growing up in New Zealand, for a period of time, I showed cats in cat shows, which was one of the coolest things you could do as a 15-year-old. And one time, I even got Best in Show. Well, I didn't, my cat did. So I'm very happy that we are sponsored by Smalls. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you'd find in the fridge. And it's delivered straight to your door. That's why cats.com, yes, that's the website, named Smalls their best overall cat food. To get 60% off your first order plus free shipping, head to smalls.com/bird for a limited time only. This is a review of Smalls that Jennifer M left. After every feeding, he gets this burst of energy and starts running around the house, and his fur is softer and more vibrant with higher contrast. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend anything else. Elizabeth said this: my cat was always so-so with her usual food, but she's very enthusiastic about Smalls. Now, Smalls was started back in 2017 by a group of guys home cooking cat food in small batches for their friends. A few years later, they've served millions of meals to cats across America. Plus, Smalls works with the Humane World for Animals. They've donated over $1 million worth of food to help cats through the Humane World for Animals, and they even give you a chance to donate at checkout, whether you donate $5 for flea and tick medication or $7 for vaccines.
So clearly, I am a big fan of Smalls. I have a few friends that use Smalls. They talk very highly of it. I would use it if I had a cat here in LA. I don't have one yet. And after switching to Smalls, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements. That's a pretty big deal. The team at Smalls are so confident your cat will love their product that you can try it risk-free. That means they'll refund you if your cat won't eat their food. So, what are you waiting for? Give your cat the food that they deserve. For a limited time, because you're a Flightless Bird listener, you can get 60% off your first Smalls order plus free shipping when you head to smalls.com/bird. That's 60% off when you head to smalls.com/bird plus free shipping. Again, that's smalls.com/bird.
This episode is brought to you by Dogfish Head Craft Brewery. The Grateful Dead and Dogfish Head have gotten the band back together with the release of Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale, a light-bodied pale ale brewed with sustainable Kernza grains, granola, and heaps of good karma for a refreshing brew that's music to your taste buds. Available nationwide. Visit dogfish.com to find Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale in your neck of the woods. Dogfish Head Craft Brewery is located in Milton, Delaware. Please drink responsibly.
No matter how you travel, it's good to have a plan. Some people plan every minute. No sleep, bus, museum, another museum. While others only plan to take it day by day. When it comes to your finances, a plan is just as important. You can count on Credit Karma to give you the insights you need to understand your options, so you can take charge of your financial path and find your way to money. Intuit Credit Karma. Karma you can count on. Download the app today.
Okay, I'm on to my final segue into our final guest. We've talked a lot tonight about death and bringing things back from the dead, more in regards to people, but what about animals? The Rocky Mountain Wolf Project has been an ambitious... Oh, some fans. I was worried about this, but we've got fans, that's good, because it's also controversial. Project to bring the very endangered grey wolf to Colorado. What makes this whole thing so unique is the whole project was the result of a citizen-led ballot. The public voted on whether or not to do this. So there was a campaign, there was some dirty politics, but eventually the people of Denver voted, yes, bring wolves back to Colorado. I was curious what happens when you bring wolves back. Wolves seem scary to me, but also equally quite cool and impressive. But I also don't want them to die out. So Joanna Lambert is an environmental studies professor at the University of Colorado. She's been deeply involved with the Rocky Mountain Wolf Project, and for some reason, she agreed to come talk at a show that featured a cryonics expert, the leader of a Hearse club, and a mad scientist obsessed with ice. Please welcome the best dressed of the night, Joanna Lambert. Welcome. Thanks for coming. I love the hat so much. You've come back from some sort of wilderness recently, not for the show, but you were like adjacent to the show.
I was at Yellowstone National Park.
What were you doing in Yellowstone?
Can you hear me?
You can just jam that.
It's good that we finally got a female up on stage.
I know.
Just saying.
It's about time.
Just kidding.
No, it's fair.
Yeah.
It's something I'm always thinking about in the show.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's funny because I've noticed how, in a way, maybe America is set up, where when I go to find like experts or people that are accessible, it often ends up being guys.
Yeah.
And that's often just the way, this is the world we live in, and so it's fucking wonderful not to have like another dick on stage, you know? So thank you. It's like, we're here. It's already like too much, me and Rob. Yeah, what was Yellowstone like? What were you doing there?
Yellowstone National Park, I've been working there for a number of years. My current big research project focuses in on how wildlife, and in this case wolves and coyotes, are adapting to this sort of human-dominated planet. So Yellowstone is one of my field sites.
How did you get involved in this project to bring the wolf back in? Because I understand it's been like, as well as being a conservation thing, it also got incredibly political because people voted on whether they wanted this to happen, which isn't the usual way decisions around this stuff are made.
Yeah, absolutely. This was unprecedented in that regard, right? This is the first time we've engaged with democracy to make a statement about what we want done with our endangered species. And I love that what we did was essentially add a new tool to the toolbox of conservation in an era of biodiversity extinction. So, I want people to be talking about biodiversity extinction crisis as much as we are now finally talking about the climate crisis. That wolves are exceptionally salient. Everybody's got an opinion, whether it's good or negative or positive about wolves, and it really, really has captured a tremendous amount of attention. I was at that release, and as I left, believe it or not, I got a call from Russia. They were following the news of this wolf reintroduction. So it's garnered a lot of attention, and any forum that I'm in, I will use it. And by the way, this is an awesome forum. I love this.
Oh yeah, we have the best listeners
so much.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine you're often giving like lectures and more academic focused things,
that's right? And this is like kind of mixing like kind of rock and roll and wolves and just it's awesome.
No, this venue's amazing.
Yeah, so I've been involved in this work for almost a decade or so with this, the reintroduction of wolves. This is actually a conversation that's been going on amongst conservation biologists since the mid-90s after wolves were put back into Yellowstone. And it was sort of the next place that made sense because we've got amazing habitat here.
And how's it going right now? Obviously, there weren't a lot of wolves here. You've introduced them. Are they surviving? Are they doing well? Do there need to be like 200 more thrown out into the world? Like, how does it look?
So one thing I like to say to folks, and I've been working in sort of the trenches of conservation biology around the world for almost 40 years. And folks do ask me that question, David, quite a bit. And one thing I try to do is like get people to remember that this is the long game. Look that way, right? Not just right in what is right in front of you. We're only 18 months into this, right? We now have roughly 30 wolves in Colorado, in the state of Colorado. They were extirpated in this state in the mid-40s. We have lost wolves to a variety of causes, some natural, some not. Mm-hmm. But we do almost certainly have puppies right now. Those details are not known generally, but it's breeding season. So
it must be super satisfying to see this all happening.
Oh yeah.
How because I feel like in Los Angeles we have coyotes around, and I feel there's two attitudes. It's like my attitude is like, holy shit, these things were here way before we were here.
Yeah.
It's remarkable they're still here. Let's just let them have the best life possible.
Yep.
Other people are kind of like horrified that there are animals there that like might interrupt their morning coffee or commute or something. Do you find that's the same kind of conversation you're having around these bigger creatures?
Absolutely. And one thing I think about a lot is if we were to get rid of everything that we found inconvenient, what kind of world would we be living in, right? Like, I don't want to live in a completely tame and domesticated planet. I want to bring back some of the wild.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that and it's interesting. It's going to take some, cognitive shifts, right? Like coyotes, actually, the story of coyotes being in cities is a new one. They've only expanded their ranges into cities and to the east, into New York in the last 50 years or so. But as we get accustomed to having something around, it doesn't seem as appalling, right? Or shocking. And that is what is going on here in Colorado, right? Several generations of folks have been making a living on the western slope in rural landscapes without wolves, right? This is all new. This is new. If you talk to folks around Yellowstone, though that reintroduction was 30 years ago, folks are accustomed to it. They may or may not like it, right? But they are habituated to it, and we can make the statement that, yeah, that's coexistence.
What's the controversy that people are opposed to?
The biggest challenge, arguably, is that wolves are predators, and a lot of livestock are slow-moving prey. Right? And if we're living in landscapes where we're trying to share space, we're trying to share resources, and, wolves are having a tricky time because they're running into roads or vehicles or what have you, and there happens to be some cattle around. So wolves can and do take head to cattle, and without a doubt, it's less than 0.001% of all cattle that we have in the American West will ever have a negative encounter with a wolf. More on a weekly, monthly basis, more cattle are lost to lupine or lightning strikes or, any number of things. But there's something about wolves, right? It's, people love to hate them. We've got the big bad wolf. We've got Little Red Riding Hood. It's really, really salient in the minds of folks.
Yeah, it's like visceral stuff,
yes,
right?
Yes, so visceral, right?
Oh, you go.
What are your thoughts on the dire wolf?
Aha. That's crazy. So it's not, well, no, I have a lot of thoughts. I could go on. So I am actually a science advisor to Colossal Biosciences. I need to put that out there right away because they are the entity that did engage in that so-called de-extinction event. I think it's not a dire wolf, right?
No.
It's not Canis dirus,
Good
but
marketing.
It's very, very, very cool, right? And that sounds sort of silly, but in fact, the technology that was engaged to make that happen, what they did using ancient DNA methods and then genome editing, CRISPR methods to tweak genetics that they pulled out of a bone of an animal that was running around 70,000 years ago is amazing, right? Will it offset the extinction crisis? Probably not, right? But there are other adaptations of that technology that could go a long way. So, for example, more recently, sort of extirpated species like dodo or passenger pigeon, Tasmanian tigers, et cetera, are all right now being discussed. Woolly mammoth, that's a very, very real thing that may...
Is it?
Yes, very, very real.
Holy
Probably
shit.
2028.
Okay. 2028. Heard it here first. Mammoth. It's a bit of a hack question, but obviously you've got the focus on the grey wolf at the moment. If you could turn set your sights on another animal that is like struggling, that you could bring back to Colorado or perhaps another place, maybe New Zealand is an animal we need. What animal would you go? You're the one. We're not going to let you die out. All the others can die out, but we're bringing you back.
How about those grizzly bear?
Yeah, bring some grizzly back.
So there were grizzly bear in Colorado, in the state of Colorado, even in the 70s. And they are, they are a success story in terms of being listed on the Endangered Species Act. Their numbers are doing quite well. We still don't have very many. There's roughly 1,000 in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem, approximately. There are some very serious conversations about reintroducing grizzly into Colorado. Whether that will happen, I have no idea. But they are the great bear, right?
Do you find yourself watching TikTok or Instagram how Americans interact with these animals? Because I'm often addicted to Americans encountering a grizzly.
Yeah.
And they're often I saw a video the other day, their small child was quite close and they were just filming. And I think the priority was talk to the child and get the child to slowly back away or something.
Yeah.
But they were just making a great TikTok.
Yeah.
I guess my question is do you notice how Americans' interactions with wildlife have changed since we will become very obsessed with social?
Yeah, I don't know that it's an American phenomenon. I'd say this is global.
This is what the podcast's about.
Yeah,
okay?
I'm sorry.
No,
sorry.
no, it's fine. It's global. It's Kiwis
no,
too.
that's right. Back to the United States.
No.
Right.
Go wider.
No. So the deal is that humans we've lost our knowledge of how to be around wild things, right? This is the deal. We don't know how to do it. And that can get manifested in two ways, is what I've observed. Either people are horrified and terrified, like, oh my God, I don't know about X, Y, and Z species, so I don't want to go out there, maybe they'll kill me. That's at the one end of a lack of knowledge. The other end is, well, maybe I can just, I've actually literally heard someone in Yellowstone say, I'm going to go rustle up a grizzly bear cub.
Jesus.
This happens.
Yeah.
There's a whole a whole Facebook page devoted to what they call the Yellowstone Turons. It is stunning.
And for the record, I'm slightly scared I would be one of those, because I once extended my finger to a squirrel and it bit me so hard, and that sent me on a rabies journey. But I think I am one of those people that as humans, we're so idiotic, aren't we? We stumble into this thing of like, we want to touch, we want to grab.
Yeah, but we weren't up until recently. I mean, we still got it in there. That wisdom is in there. We're an animal species, right? I mean, the problem is we don't have any habitat. We're losing our habitat, right? And so humans are having less and less opportunities to be in wild places. That's the profound significance of our public lands, right? Which are currently under threat, including Yellowstone National Park. But we are, just up until a few hundred years ago, most of the planet was rural, and we had a very good understanding about how to be around wild animals and also large-bodied domesticated animals. People nowadays don't even know how to be around a horse, let alone a grizzly bear.
Or a squirrel.
Or a squirrel, evidently.
Joanna, thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to bring you back very soon. Thank you. Rob, what if you could say you've learnt like 3 things tonight, what would be your takeaways from tonight's knowledge that's been imparted?
That you can freeze a head.
Uh-huh. You can freeze a head. You and Vincent, specifically.
That Kiwis make good ice cream.
Uh-huh, they do. The best ice cream.
Not the woolly mammoth's coming back.
2028, was it?
Yeah.
Holy, I didn't know that. That's insane.
Next presidential run, right?
This country's so weird, isn't it? We're going to do a little Q&A now. I feel so honored that you all came out to sit and listen to people talking. I feel like this venue is a place of like some of the most amazing music in America over the last 120 years. Somehow they've let us in, which I'm deeply appreciative of. We're going to release this podcast in maybe like 3 weeks, so you'll be able to hear it again if you missed a bit. 2?
It's coming up.
That's a producer talking. He's like, it's not 3, it's 2. So you can like, if you drifted off, maybe you went to the bathroom, you can listen to it again and like catch up on the bits you missed. There is ice cream out the front. There are T-shirts to the side. Like and subscribe. Leave us a review that like really helps us. Share the episodes as well. Like there's so many people that don't know about the show, and if you like share a link, it introduces new people. We're going to do a Q&A. I thought what we can do, I'm going to this is an idea because we're running slightly under. Let's have like 2 questions for us about the show
before,
and then bring everyone on, and you can talk to the people that are way more interesting than us for like 15 minutes. Afterwards, we'll be hanging out the back. You can have a chat to us. Let's have lights up and maybe hands up. If there's a question for Robert or David, okay, there's someone there, a gentleman with a hand up. How many topics do we have sort of ready to go? And
0?
Yeah.
That's why this is coming out in 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, we are. It's stressful. We are running a bit behind at the moment. I have a Google Doc of about like 400 things to get to, and it's just... There was this discussion we had, like, will we run out of things?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No. It's a matter of, like, finding the stories that it's like finding the stories that are good stories and also the people that can tell them, and finding that within a week while you're also trying to make, like, other episodes and various levels of production. So many stories we want to tell. It's myself and Rob We've got an amazing editor, Billy. We have someone who cuts our YouTube videos. That's sort of it, really. It's like very small. So 400, we'll get to them eventually. Woolly Mammoth 2028 will be there.
Well, and we're playing with format so that it's a little less topic specific.
Yeah. We do some lighter episodes. Like when we went to Subway, that's like such a light topic. And for me, I'm so many thoughts about the show. Subway, that's like an easy thing to make. It's about 1,000 times easier than what we normally make. And I always think, oh God, it's just a throwaway. But we get way more feedback on those things because they're so, like, everyone identifies with eating at Subway. And then some of these niche things, like I go to an execution, which is like harrowing as hell. And like we get barely any feedback. Do you know what I mean? It's this weird balance.
We got a lot of positive feedback for that one too.
Oh, we did, but it's just like, I guess what I'm saying is...
I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like, so we're trying to like figure out the balance of like lighter topics, more intense topics. We've got 400 to get to. We'll get there in the next 20 years. And all this stuff you send in is amazing, by the way. Behind the sound desk, Yal. The question was, Rob, you love Michelin star restaurants. Are there any Michelin stars around here or Michelin adjacent that you have enjoyed?
I went to the Wolf's Tailor this week, and it was incredible. And then Uchi, I always love going. I don't know if they have a Michelin star, but...
Fucking beautiful. Yeah. One more question, and then we're going to bring out the much more talented people. Sir Cap, hello. Oh, yeah, my back. Oh, yeah, I had a shitty back. I have like a tall person's spine, and I have spent years like sitting badly, and my spine got wrecked. My back's doing pretty well. I do like little stretches every day, and I think if you've got
it's the bed you got, right, too?
The beautiful bed.
What brand was that?
Yeah, beautiful bed. A Helix Sleep. Helix Sleep. I went
Medium
for the Midnight
firmness.
Lux mattress. You go online, you take one simple quiz, you get matched with the mattress you love, it gets shipped directly to your door. You go to helixsleep.com/bird, that'll be like 20% off. But no, I do lots of swimming. It's like backs are weird. Like chronic pain is like a weird thing to deal with, and once you're in that world, it's like really fucked up. And because it's also, you can't see it, so you don't want to be moaning all the time. But my point is, bad backs, heaps of people have them. I'm old, I'm 42. I swim a lot, I try and keep on top of it. My posture tonight has been atrocious, I'm kind of slouching. But if you've got a bad back, my main suggestion is like start swimming. That's like the go-to.
Yeah,
thank you, sir.
You've been complaining much less about your back.
I have. I've been complaining much less. I like to complain, but I'm doing much less.
Much less.
And with that, I would like to bring James, Zachary, Richard, and Joanna back to the stage again. Thank you so much. These shows are like made by our guests, and I just have to pinch myself that people turn up and want to share their levels of expertise with us. But if you have questions for any of these four wonderful humans, raise your hand. There's a gentleman there. You've got a little wristband on. So who is your question for, and what is it? The two freezer guys. If refrigeration was a limited resource, who wins?
You work at temperatures way colder than we do, so I think I'm going to win on that one.
I'm not conceding anything, but okay.
Hey, look, if you want to let little Vincent and Rob die and melt,
I think we're already dead at this point, though.
You're dead, but you're never going to come back if you're melted.
True.
It's the end. Okay. Raise your hand in the front row. Hello. Yeah, what is the difference between a funeral limo and a normal limo?
The people in the funeral limo are having a way worse day. There's not going to be sex or, I mean, there might be blow going on in the back, depending on whose funeral it is. But primarily you can identify them. The difference between a party limo and a funeral limo is the number of doors. So almost no matter how long a passenger-based sedan limo is, it'll only have 4 doors. The funeral limos have no party accommodations inside, so it's just 3 rows of seats, bench seats. So there are 6 doors on the funeral limo, so that's how you identify them. Yeah. Yeah,
It's
thank
like
you.
the best answer of all time. It's so satisfying.
It was.
I learned so much. Ma'am, Jurassic Park t-shirt. Yeah, when you reintroduce a wolf, where do you get those wolves from?
It's an excellent question. So we've had 2 rounds of reintroduction thus far. The first was in December of 2023. Those wolves, 10 of them, came from Eastern Oregon. The wolves that were put on the ground in January of this year came from British Columbia.
Sir, you're in a t-shirt. Got a beautiful face. Sunnies, what is your question? I didn't hear that question. Could you repeat it before you answer?
The question was about ballot box biology, and that is something that came up a lot, both before, during, and after the election. So the way that I respond to that is we were not asking the citizens of Colorado to make a decision about biology. The science had already been done. The science was based on decades of impeccable science out of Yellowstone National Park and the reintroduction that went on there. So what the decision was it was not about the biology of that species, but do you, as a citizen of Colorado, want to repatriate a species that was here up until a few decades ago? Yes, no.
Sir, you have a hand, you have a head, you have some glasses. We have a cryogenics question. What is the status of Ted Williams?
Well, technically, I can't confirm or deny his presence at our facility. I will simply say, for those who don't know, there was a big media history on some of this stuff, and we do attract a lot of media attention, obviously, in a variety of ways, good and bad. In that particular case, there was a whole legal case and everything. I can say that Alcor came out ahead on that. Somebody who made some claims trying to sell a book and sell a movie, ultimately, I believe, over 300 times pled the fifth in the deposition on their claims. I did read those transcripts. So whomever is at Alcor is, I think, extremely well taken care of. Our teams are extremely serious. This is a lighthearted event, but we deal with death twice a month. We know these people. They're ourselves, they're our members, they're our friends, and it's a hard job. So we take it 100% seriously, and everybody's well taken care of.
Nice. Sir, with a cap, when you introduce a keystone species back into an environment, what are you looking at?
So I often like to answer that question in light of what happens when you take them out. And so you don't just take out a whole level of a food web, in this case, the top one, apex predators, without all kinds of effects in the so-called trophic levels below, right? So in the case of extirpation of gray wolves and basically all of our apex predators in the United States, what we started to see, really in the early part of the 20th century was massive, massive overabundance of prey species. Go to Rocky Mountain National Park. The elk there are just, wildly overabundant. And what do elk eat, right? They're browsers, so they eat vegetation. And so what was happening literally throughout the United States after a concerted effort on the part of the federal government to get rid of predators, right? We still have a branch of USDA in the form of Wildlife Services that continues to do that. But what happened and what was noted around the United States starting in the 20th century is that there were way too many deer and elk. We started to get diseases like chronic wasting disease, right? And things were just out of whack. And mind you, it's not just apex predators, and in this case, wolves as a keystone species. We see similar things with herbivores like ecosystem engineers like beaver, right? And there's a lot of work being done on trying to put beaver back in. So, good question.
We are pro beaver here on Flightless Bird, FYI. Okay, we're going to get 2 more questions. In the far row on the side there, your hand is up. Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, and sorry, did you say that this was a black bear or a grizzly bear? Yeah.
Can I chip in? I'm talking over you, which is so annoying. I wish I hadn't. We did a whole episode on bears. Where were you then? No, please, answer that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the quick answer is what you do with the black bear is very different than what you do with a grizzly bear. right? So, but generally speaking, if you encounter a black bear, say on the trail, right, and there are certain times of the year when that's more likely to happen, black bear and grizzly bear just finished up with their breeding season, so they're really, really active right now. The other time that they're really active is in the fall when they're in hyperphagy and they're trying to get all fat, right, big fat bear. So in the case of a black bear, well, actually, in general, with wildlife, running is never a good idea. Just don't run. But in the case of a black bear, just being very calm, well, this would be true for grizzly as well, but being very calm, alerting them to your presence if they don't already know it, right, and slowly sort of backing away. I would always advise, if you're out in, wild places, to have bear spray. In the case of an attack by a grizzly, undoubtedly the data over and over and over again indicate that you should never scream and do not fight back. And I'm saying that with the utmost seriousness, right? For real. Do not scream with a grizzly bear. Do not fight back. Act as dead as you can possibly imagine. With black bear, it's different. Right? They're just sort of wired differently. Their responses are quite different. And it's very unlikely in any case that a black bear would attack, but there are so many of them. There are, tens of thousands of black bear in Colorado. We've got amazing habitat. In the case of an attack by a grizzly bear, it would be playing dead probably isn't the best thing to do, but the likelihood of that happening in the first place is very slim. So,
but bear spray is key.
Bear spray.
Yeah. Okay, let's do one. We're at 9. Rob, you're the producer. We're at 9:20 p.m. What do you think? Should we have how many more questions?
We can fit 3 more in.
3 more. Okay, good. Okay. Rob, do you want to pick someone? I feel like...
Let's go you in the hat.
Okay, the question is for Alcor. If you run out of money for any reason, from any sources, what happens to all the people that you have stored?
And that's a great question. That's actually a very legitimate question because, frankly, we're the ones who get the call to save many other Cryonics organizations. For those who don't know, everybody hears this $200,000 or $80,000. They don't realize it's funded by insurance. And what happens is a bunch of people get in the space and they think, I'm going to do this in the backyard. And that happened, 1988 Chatsworth disaster. We get the call from the States because we know what we're doing. I will say Alcor, and by the way, because we're a nonprofit, we're audited, and we have to file our 990s publicly. So like all my info is public, which is wild. Yeah. That being said, we do have significant endowments, tens and tens of millions of dollars. It's literally enough money there's separate organizations as well, and this gets complicated, but long story short is that the patient care bay or trust is separate from the operating unit, and that money is like triple threat protected. I mean, it's super protected, and it's tens of millions of dollars. It can afford a caretaker. Frankly, we have some really smart people. There's a member in the audience who's a PhD in AI before it was cool. And these people literally spend their weekends nonprofit volunteering, calculating per cubic square foot cost for the next 300 years, how much to have a caretaker, and that money's tied to that. So Alcor right now fiscally is frankly very, very strong. And the problem is there may be news soon about us having to do a rescue. And that's where Max or some of our folks on the DART team, phenomenal. We may actually have to go recover from other organizations. The for-profits grossly underestimate the cost of doing this right. And every single one has failed. So that's how it works.
So your rescue guys are going in and rescuing bodies from companies that are failing and people are potentially melting.
We have had to do this because obviously the media, but also the government, the regulatory pressure. If that goes bad, it's like Kleenex, we're the brand. And you hear Cryonics and we take the hit everywhere, regardless. Yeah, so we get blamed for all kinds of things. We had nothing. That's why you heard. And by the way, we're open for public tours by appointment. And if I'm there, I'll give the tour. And you get to see behind the scenes really cool science stuff. But I want us to be transparent. Because you hear all these rumors on the internet, the stuff you read. I had somebody call and ask if we wore robes and did like Gothic chants and had heads on poles. I'm not exaggerating. It is wild. We are a science lab, an engineering lab, and the stuff that's not even public is 20 or 30 years in advance. But if we do this right, 80 lives a day, just on kidneys, forget about the brains. That's the aspirational goal. But on the kidneys, which is foreseeable, that's obtainable in our lifetime easily. Okay? That's 80 people a day. If you knew anybody who needed a kidney transplant, zero reason scientifically they can't be banked for 6 weeks. Perfect match. Okay. It's resources applied. For-profits won't do it. We're it.
Fucking A. I've just noticed this entire time I've been gripping this doll's hands like this, which is so creepy. We'll just put that doll down there.
Don't put that next to me.
Another question, please. In the aisle, Cap, your hand is up. Yes, overalls.
The weirdest thing you found in an ice core.
So probably the most striking visual thing we found was this, I think there was even a picture of it up here, a super thick volcanic ash layer that the neat thing about volcanic layers is we can usually chemically tie them to a known volcano. This one didn't match any known volcano on the planet. The assumption is that it's from a subglacial volcano that exists 2 miles beneath the ice sheet in Antarctica that erupted around 21,000 years ago or so. As far as the weirdest thing that goes, I'd probably say it was a grasshopper leg. Not the rest of the grasshopper, just its leg. Don't know what happened to the rest of it, but yeah. By and large, we don't see much in the ice cores. They're generally clear as glass all the way down. So as soon as we see something, we get excited.
Arms just gone up? Yes. Yeah, the oldest water that you've ever drunk. Do you sometimes get a bit bored in there and you put a bit of ice core in the microwave and just have a little sip?
Okay, so I can tell you the oldest ice that I know the exact age of that I drank was when we finished the Western Antarctic Ice Sheet project, and we had a little bit from the very bottom, which was dated to 68,000 years ago. That being said, the newest project that the U.S. has been working on for the last few years is on the coast of Antarctica, where super ancient ice has been exposed at the surface, some of which has been dated to 5.9 million years old. I had some ice from that region. I don't know exactly how old it was, but I know the youngest ice there was 300,000 and the oldest was 5.9. So somewhere within that range. Put that in a nice 15-year aged whiskey and you got yourself a party.
Amazing. I feel like that is the perfect question to end on. I'm going to do a bad thing and do one more, but it better be as good a question as that. Ma'am, right here, second row. Yeah, hair care routine. What's going on here?
It was not going to end without that, was it? I'll just do kind of a quick run through. So what I use is it's L'Oreal. It's a weather control hairspray. And you could glue God to a dirt road with this shit. It is really, really good. So I recommend that. It's a question I get in public a lot, which is, how do you sleep? Well, I don't sleep on my head, so there's that. The question is, how long does it take? And I have an answer that's not true, but it just dissuades further questioning, so I give that answer instead. The real answer is about an hour, but it's because I like to fuck around a lot and listen to music and daydream and write notes to myself. And then a lot of times, there was a real spell where the mohawk was the chosen style for 5 to 10-year-olds, which is humbling when people are coming up to you and being like, "Hey, you have the same style as a human who still eats boogers," and thinks Barney the dinosaur is great or whatever the they're watching these days. So it's a humbling experience, but people would be like, I tried everything to get my kids mohawk up. And I would tell them my 2 pieces of advice would be L'Oreal and then crimping irons. Crimping irons will make your hair much more frizzy. So you crimp it, you brush it through, and then you apply the hairspray. So take that to the bank. So, all right.
Thank you. Amazing, legitimately amazing questions. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. You've been amazing. Be safe out there. Thanks for coming.
Calvin, have you ever been to Denver?
Yeah.
What do you remember about Denver?
It was really hot, kind of like a desert, but there's a bunch of rocks like a mountain. I think there's a swimming pool there. I remember going to Red Rocks and going to a concert there.
Who did we go see there?
Dr. Dog.
Did you like it?
I liked the music. I liked... it was cool also that we were in the middle of all the rocks and watching the concert.
What else do you remember doing?
Oh, yeah, I remember Meow Wolf and seeing all the cool statues. I remember going with you on the maze. I also remember throwing up in front of Meow Wolf.
Is there anything else about Denver?
I don't remember anything else. I hope you like this show. I hope when you get home you have a good night or day. Like and subscribe.
Hey Denver, what's up? My name's Matthew Logan Vasquez. I'm opening in this fucking party. Yes. Remember the first time that we got acquainted? You fell out of my window. I hadn't laughed like that in ages. Folding out of history, finding all the common stages. It's how it is. Friends like this are meant together. I had to make my own way before the crying started. You saw me standing on the dark side of your heart. How many missteps till I see you come apart? It's how it is. Friends like this are meant together. You know the reason for every lyric that I wrote, the counting cadence and the rhythm schemes that you like. I'd give it all to you if you ever had the time. It's how it is. Friends like this are meant together. The look you gave that saved my forgotten word. All the moments that we took it on the line. You were always there for me even when I lost my mind. Yeah, baby. How it is. Don't do drugs. Friends like this are meant together. You learn it yet? Let's do it together. It's how it is, friends like this. It's how it is. Friends like this are meant together. Yeah, great job. They said you couldn't be quiet a whole song. I told them, fuck you, man. This is Denver. They love music here. I wrote this song to my wife. She's here tonight and she hates that I just acknowledged her. Like the tide pulled in by the moon, there we were, dancing in my room. What a wonder, what a wonder, what a wonderful life. I'll try, I will try to show you. Many years ago, I was such a mess, holding on to those young dumb things wasn't ready to give up yet. You saw the person I aspired to. Well, I'm so in love with you. I'll try, I will try to show you. What a wonder, what a wonder, what a wonderful life. I'll try, I will try to show you. Even as our children grow, even when our bodies fall apart, you still turn my night into day. Just one word from your heart. What a wonder, what a wonder, what a wonderful life. What a wonder, what a wonder, what a wonderful life. What a wonder, what a wonder, what a wonderful life. I will try to show you. I love you, honey. All right, I get one more. So I'm gonna do one of these ones. If you guys could clap your hands, that would be really helpful. I know you're gonna be required to clap the whole fucking song. Can you do it? They said you couldn't do it, Denver, but I fucking believe in you. Here we go. Oh, brothers, hold the line where we got something. This world is way too small to feel like nothing. I was round at the train track, looking so homeless to you. And you came like a copper. You said, son, it's time to move. Don't give up on me. My love is coming like a baby. I'll wait around. Well, when my mother left up, that was the only one, dear. Yeah, just that reason why I'm still here. Here we go. Well, my mother's well spoken. No, I didn't get that gene. Well, yes, I had lost it. And yes, my eyes say are green. Come on. My love is coming, I can barely hardly wait around. Come on, we do it. Do, 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 do. Yeah. Do, 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 do. Denver's the fucking best city in the planet. Pretty good job. Great job. You gotta keep the hand clap and go. Let's go. Well, if you hide your question, there's no answer. I finally found a cure for my own cancer. Yeah, oh yeah, oh, my love is coming. I can barely, hardly wait. Keep it up now. And my heart is pumping. I can feel it more with every beat. Woo, my love is coming. I can barely, hardly wait. Around. I love you, Denver. Thank you so much.